Well, primary season is almost upon us, and I think it's high time that someone cover what no one will talk about, no one will mention, but the truth of which can be verified by simple mathematics. That for all the platitudes about democracy and the people having a choice and elected officials representing us and the importance of doing your civic duty, the truth is, that is all a farce, a sad parody of everything our founding fathers hoped for our country. The truth is, the mere existence of primary elections means that our electoral system is well and truly rigged. I've covered before other forms of election rigging, ballot access restrictions, voter ID laws, restricted debates, and the way bureaucrats and party officials will manipulate the system and break their own rules, and even the law itself, to make sure that no actual competition to their power and influence can ever arise. It's high time to add primary elections to that list. Let's examine a hypothetical election and see, with simple mathematics, how political parties can use them to rid the election of candidates who may be much more preferable to the American voters. This hypothetical election will be between Barack Obama, a Democrat, and Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan, both Republicans. Romney is a conservative and Ryan a libertarian. Obama's going to sail through the primaries with no opposition, but the Republicans are going to have a primary election. Let's say the population is largely libertarian and they would select Ron Paul over Mitt Romney and Barack Obama, but thanks to primary elections, that isn't what happens. Because if only Republicans get to vote in the Republican primary and they're mostly conservative, they'll choose Mitt Romney over Paul Ryan. The fact that the voters at large would choose Ryan over Romney is made irrelevant by this process. This simple division of the voting process into primaries potentially robs the people of their preferred candidate. You see, you can control the outcome of an election by controlling the order of voting. Let's say that the population is evenly divided into Democrats and Republicans. 26% of the population want Mitt Romney, all of them Republicans. 26% want Barack Obama, all of them Democrats. And the other 48% want Paul Ryan. In any direct election, Paul Ryan would win with a plurality of the vote, but this isn't allowed to happen. The reason why is that all 26% of Romney supporters are voting in the Republican primary, but Ryan only has 24% of the population who both support him and are registered Republican. So among registered Republicans, Romney gets 52% of the vote and Ryan only 48%, and he loses the primary. The general election then becomes between Romney and Obama, with the public at large never getting their say about any other options. And Ron jumping ship to the Democratic Party doesn't help either. It all works out the same. In the primary, Obama wins 52 to 48%, and it's still a choice between the candidates least favored by the people. In fact, Ron should theoretically win even with 34% of the vote if the other 66% is divided evenly. But if we run a primary, we'll see that Ron only has 17% in whichever primary he runs in. And all of this is even without any of the other rule-breaking and electoral manipulation I mentioned earlier. Any of those would result in his vote total being lower still. If you divided it up any other way, Paul Ryan would win our hypothetical election. But since he's eliminated early on, the people's favorite is forbidden to them, and their least favorite choices are the ones that make it to the general election. And so the public perception, fueled by politicians and the news media, is that he is a fringe candidate with no chance of winning. When the only reason he has no chance of winning is that the agenda setters have the power to decide in what order the votes are taken, and that makes all the difference. If you really care about fair elections, in fact, if you care about anything other than the privileged establishment parties keeping hold of their reins of power while they put on a show of opposition for the electorate, then you need to start calling for the end of all federal and state recognition of political parties and the complete end of all primary elections now and forever.